I got you, people. Things are not looking good for the American people anymore, people. Because like I was saying, like I always say, government is not for its citizens or its people. That's why I've been telling people, there's no need for you or anybody to work full-time or work 2 jobs. If you cannot make it at a full-time job, 8 hours, 40 hours a day, and you can't pay your bills, why are you struggling still working full-time and trying to get a second job? You know what you need to do? Because the government won't stop taking 30% out of your check if you keep on working full-time. What you got to do is work part-time, either from 8 to 12 or 12 to 5. You know, let the employer handle that, because they're already laying off people because of the new technology. So no matter how much overtime you do, how many hours a day you work, you know, if you have a second job, the only thing that's going to happen to you, the government is going to tax you more on that money. But now, if you work part-time, everybody should be working part-time and let the government handle the bill, right? Because for years, for generations, the people of the country have been working, enslaving themselves at work, and it doesn't meet the living standards of the cost of living, right? The money doesn't give. No matter how much you work, if you get a second job, the more you make, the more money you gotta pay, and the more taxes you gotta pay. So my suggestion is to the people, work part-time, a 2-shift job, right? From 8 to 12 or 8 to 1, because you get a lunch break, and from 12 to 5. And right, and let the government supplement that other half that you're not making, because by law, that I know he cannot take no more than 30% of your earnings. Now that you're working part-time, he can't do that. That means you got to find another way to get this money, and that's when subsidies come in and help you out with your bill. Because every time you work full-time, you're not working for yourself and to enjoy this money. You're only working for the government to take this money. That's what I suggest. People already should think about that and start working part-time, right? Because what the government is doing, instead of the president, like he said, he was gonna stop this war within 24 hours, but it's been more than 24 hours. It's been like maybe 3 or 4 months already since he's been in office, maybe 5, I don't know. And he still can't stop the war. Now he's suggesting to have the weapons made here and sell them to NATO. You believe that? He wants to manufacture weapons here in America and sell them up to NATO, so they could still continue that war in Bank. They said there's money in making these weapons, right? To kill other people, just to kill. Because nobody's getting nothing if you kill people. Who's gonna work, and pay the taxes on the revenue? There's no people, there's nothing to collect. Well, their job is to kill everybody in sight now. And he said, my neighbor told me that's money that we making. And I tell him, what money? I don't see no money. Because sure, the money's not coming in to America, to the people. Because those weapons cost $5 million to $10 million. Where's the government putting that money at? Because it's definitely not going to the American people. Or the business, or, cutting them a check too, for their hardships. Instead of sending them to another foreign country so they could just kill themselves, to take territorial. Wow. These days, nobody wants to work. People are more lazier now than ever, right? And the technology is so difficult for them, because they make it difficult for you to get into these apps, because you need codes, you need an email, and if your phone is loaded with too much information, you can't get through, so you got to delete other information. It's a chaos. People just don't understand the technology. They get frustrated and they give up, and things happen, and if the government don't see that you making the effort to get into these apps, and they're not gonna know that, because it's not really a person viewing this is a automated machine, AI. If they don't see that you in their app, they probably will send you a letter that they're gonna cut you off your benefits, or you don't qualify for any benefits at all. Because now everything is AI, everything is electronically. So I suggest that people work part-time. So like that, the government won't take so many taxes and won't have a chance to create weapons of mass destruction and have war with everybody in the region. Already we have problems with other countries, right? The Americans took all these immigrants out, and now they're taking out the Americans, the Caucasians, the Europeans out of their country. They're kicking them out of the establishment. They don't want them there. So it's only right. You kick them out of America, they're kicking you out of their country. And everywhere it's like that. Even Europe are kicking people out that is there out of Europe. They say that Europe wants its country back. But how are you going to get all them people out? And as they stand and they fight, so you're going to have a civil revolution within these countries, because really nobody wants to get out. After they're already here and they think they established something, they work, they got a family. Thing is that nobody did it correctly through a process, right? And it's another argument about that, because mainly the Europeans came here without due process. They just came here and they made it their own, and they made the laws to work for them and not work for others. Because how could you give yourself citizenship without nobody else approving that? I never approved their citizenship. Who approved the European citizenship? It wasn't me. I'm sure it wasn't the native, it wasn't the Caribbeans, it wasn't the color folks, right? They just put themselves that they are the rulers and they're the citizens, and they are the ones that issue out permission for you to be here and you to work. Now here in New York City, I don't know about everybody else, you need all kinds of papers just to file something to get. If you need something, you gotta file for something that you need. And you need a permit, you need a permission, or you need a license, or you need somebody that's insured that could do the work for you. You just can't do it on your own. And you just can't do nothing with a document that you got to show that you've been given permission to do something. That's how the world is coming now. You just can't go and do something anymore. You got to get permission from somebody else. And that's what the world is coming to, people. And with that, I'll let you go. When you think about that, start working full time and invest in your time and sweat and tears for a government that doesn't do anything for you. And with that, I'll let you go and think about that.